Hey guys, I just wanted to share another video with you about Microsoft Excel doing a pivot table. And I went ahead and laid out some data here so we can go ahead and get started doing our pivot table. We got some amounts over here, which are going to be in dollars, a date column, a buyer category, and the color, and the dollar amount for the purchase. The first thing that I want to do is I want to make this a table so that we can reference the entire thing simply with one category. So if you go over here to the insert column here, and then we just go to tables, and we are going to make a pivot table, but we're going to just make this data into a table right now. And then it is going to ask you if the data selection that you selected is going to be this data that you want to use. If we do yes, my table does have headers. We put those category headers up here. So we click OK. And basically with that, now we can reference this whole table here as table 1. You could give it a name, and then whatever name you do give it, like my table, for example, then that's what you're going to have to use, and it doesn't like any spaces, so I'll just put my underscore table. And so now once we have that, we can go ahead and let's just create a new sheet so we can insert our pivot table. So if we go to insert, back to tables, pivot table, it wants us to come up with a range for the data that we're looking at. Or if we already have a table, we can just go ahead and click on the table or type it in. So let's try to type it in. So I think we called it my table. And once we do that, it's going to reference by name my table, which is what we called our data. And from there, we can go ahead and choose categories that we can filter on to summarize their data to give us insights so we can make decisions and we can see things in a more concise manner. So for example, if let's just start with the category. Let's say if we want to filter on categories, and for the amount, we want to know what amount was spent in there. So by default in Microsoft Excel, it gave us the sum of the amount, which is generally what we want. There are other options that you can choose as far as the count, or you can get an average of the values, different things like that. And if we also want to go ahead and filter on the color, then we can get a summarization of the data in the table under pants, shirt, the different colors of each, and then again a sum of the total amounts or values for that. And we can really get as complex or as simple as you want. We can go ahead and start sorting this if you have an alphabetical or a numerical order or list that makes sense for you in your pivot table. You can also filter out if we're only interested in shirts. We don't want to see what the pants have to do, and then we can go ahead and summarize that data. And formatting works just the same if you wanted to format it back to dollars or some other format for the amount. And then if you're interested to see what makes up some of the data, just go ahead and double click in one of the summations here in our pivot table. And what it's going to do is it's going to create another table basically that just has the data that made up the cell that we clicked on in the pivot table. So all of that data summarized for us. We have our filtering options. There's a whole host of things we can do. If we only wanted a certain date, so I wanted to go ahead and filter out certain dates, we can do that, or have or put that as a column so that we can go ahead and see exactly what dollar amounts were spent on different days for the different categories that we have. I hope that helps. If you have any other questions, or if you want me to go over specific examples of how to do stuff in Excel, let me know and I will get on that. Thank you.